Seems all right. And I shall wait for it to go live. There we go. All right. There we are. We're all set. Hey, folks. Welcome. Geocaching Podcast. We are just about ready to get started. A little late. Not too bad, I don't think. All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, folks. Sit back, relax, get your favorite libation, your favorite snack. Geocaching Podcast is coming at you right about now.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in the flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome to the Geocaching Podcast, episode 495, recorded live on May 3rd, 2017. I'm your host, Headhardhat with
Task 427 and Info
Ferret. Sorry. Yeah, I am here. Sorry.
Timing is everything. You can join our chat room and watch our live video stream, plus participate with us as we record this episode. All this and more can be found at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. Be sure to contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. And also find us on Twitter, geocachingpodcast.com/Twitter, and Facebook at geocachingpodcast.com/Facebook. This episode is sponsored by our good patrons of the Geocaching Podcast. To become a contributing patron, simply click on our Patreon logo or our PayPal logo on our webpage to help keep our podcast going. From all of us at the Geocaching Podcast, we thank you. So, yeah. How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going pretty good.
That's
Warming
good.
up out here.
Yeah, getting hot in the West Coast and cooling down on the other side of the planet, I guess.
Yep, but it's autumn's hit. We're starting to get southerlies through, so when one of those comes through, the temperature drops about 10 degrees, and you certainly need a jumper on.
Yeah, now see, I told you not too long ago that we were going to start razzing you already. I didn't realize it was going to be quite this soon for the winter weather to start kicking in.
It's a gentle autumn at the moment. It's not really winter yet.
Yeah. Now the funny part is, I've got nothing to state on this except that I got an email from my brother yesterday, who's up in Gaylord, Michigan, and it was snowing. So that just tells you, it's like they said, basically the upper peninsula or upper half of the lower peninsula, they enjoy their 6 weeks of slush as summer, and that's about all they get. I'm out cutting the lawn and having a good time that way, and he's shoveling. So
I'm still trying to sell ski passes here.
Over the weekend, I was a bit more in towards town, and you get to see over the foothills when you're a bit more in towards town and see the Sierras, and it still has a ton of friggin' snow on it. It's like those ski resorts are they're talking about having days open on the 4th of July.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, holy cow.
Yeah, because we used to make fun of Corey when he was in Montana, because he was the only thing between him and the North Pole with a couple of herd of caribou. But he was saying all the time how the snow had stayed on the mountains and that for tons. It's like, when did the pass open for you to get through?
Right.
So yeah, you get it all over. That's just how it is. Let's see. Yesterday, if you had a chance, which was May 2nd, you go out, and if you went to an event or picked up a geocache, you received yet another souvenir, which I'm so happy that geocaching.com has decided to stick with the souvenirs instead of the little bit of HTML code to put on your profile. that was just tacky. So then yet another souvenir that came along with the big blue switch, and was able to go out yesterday. And yes, want to say thank you personally for wife Amy for all the well wishes and prayers that were sent to our way. Amy on the weekend on Saturday went in for an appendectomy, and everything went okay. Spent a couple extra days longer we wanted to in the hospital because she was just itching to get out. But she's doing great and recovering, and right now watching TV in the other room, having a good time. So thank you to everybody that sent in the nice wishes. We really do appreciate it. But like I said, I was out cutting the grass yesterday, and I realized it was the 2nd. And it's like, we need to get a geocache. And she said, can we go for a ride, please? So got her in the car and actually went and got ourselves a geocache so she could pick up a souvenir. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I was got out of work yesterday, and I was like, hang on, it's the 2nd. I need to go get a cache. I was like, there's one in the parking lot of the Safeway across the street from work that I haven't touched specifically for when I needed an emergency cache.
There you go.
So I went and snagged that one, and then on the way home, it's like, well, there is that 5-1 cache that I've been meaning to go take a look at. It's like, it'd be nice to have that on a day like this.
Yes.
And so I go and walk up to the cache or walk up to the area where the cache is. And I'm looking around. There's a fairly high percentage DNFs on this one. And I'm looking, and it's like, okay, I think it has to be this. And I'm looking around. 10 minutes later, haven't find it. And then my eyes kind of spot something. It's like, that looks a little bit hinky.
Yeah.
And it's like, boop. Found it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like, it feels great, and sometimes there'll be difficulty ones that kind of smack you in the head and you can't find it.
Yes.
And then a 5 difficulty one, finding it's like, oh yeah.
Well, congrats. Yeah, I love those. And it's amazing how often hinky gets involved with geocaching. It's like that just don't look right.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I'm now officially jealous because I've still got the 5-1 is still a gap in my DT grid. So I'll come and stalk you.
I think that's
no.
I think that's number 5 or number 6 of the 5-1s for me.
Some people just show off.
No, it's my 3.5 terrains and my 4.5 terrains where I need to pick up more of those because I've got at least one of each of them, but several. It's like I'm wanting to double up now on my GT grid.
Oh, well, I sort of over the last week or so I made it to an event on Friday. It's good to catch up with a few people, including the woman who's organising what we hope will be the mega on the South Island later this year. So
how many people have signed up so far?
200 and something. I haven't looked for a week or so.
All right.
But it's sort of possible. But they could use a few more. And looking at what they've got put out there, there's all sorts. There's even a company in the town that hires out e-bikes, which makes a few trails very achievable, which looks kind of tempting.
Yep.
But so it's good to catch up with her. There was a C2 I managed to get to very briefly on the Sunday. And it's one of these ones of, rather than going and picking up litter, it was pulling out weeds. And I really don't understand.
Do that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. The gardening gene has skipped a generation in me. I could kill a plastic plant. Gardening isn't me. I'll quite happily go and put some gloves on and pull out and do applied violence to random vegetation in the guide to a C2. That was good. And just a sort of random assortment of other cases, just keeping the numbers ticking off. And yes, I did go for a couple of park and grabs just to make sure I got that souvenir.
Awesome. Now you also found a cool geocoin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, and when we get talking about travel bugs, I'll show you a bit more about it because it's been well sort of set up.
Oh, nice.
And finally, my event got published just in time for the 2-week cutoff for the city safari.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, and in homage to another one of our friends, the theme for the city safari this year is a spy theme. So that given that the three of us have epic levels of fitness, we've gone for the team name of Croak and Stagger. I did check it out with Adam before I put it in.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's me.
I don't know. Is there any down under spies that get played up, Chad? I don't remember any. Britain we hear a lot of.
There was a couple of issues a few years back with some Israeli spies prowling around here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were things
Israeli spies prowl around everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got New Zealand is a member of Five Eyes.
I'm sorry, fried rice?
Five as in...
5.
Eyes as in...
Okay, and that is what? Is that like the CIA or...
That's a spy network with us, the Brits, Canada, US, and... can't remember who the other one is. Someone will tell us.
Five Eyes. That's interesting.
I've never heard of it either. I was thinking it was a bunch of... I was guessing it was a bunch of former British colonies, but
no.
Well, actually, technically, the U.S. was a former British colony.
We got rid of you when you couldn't make tea properly.
Oh, see, here it go.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but you guys do have a.
You take the tea and you dump it in the harbor.
Yes.
Well, if you want salty
that's the way
tea,
you make tea.
I'm not coming round to your place.
It's a little distilled, but hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
But no, I seriously, I was wondering if there was an Australian James Bond out there, but I guess you'll have to use the UK for that.
Well, what you've got is in the Waihopai Valley in the top of the South Island, there is a US base.
See?
Yeah, and apparently Kiwi speak caused them all sorts of grief because our sort of backyard scrub, sort of unmanaged country is known as bush. And there's a sort of Kiwiism term for a car that's sort of old and about to break down and not going very well, quite often known as a bob.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm taking the bob out into the bush.
Oh,
could cause all sorts of grief.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's all in the language. I'm just saying.
Yep.
All right. Good stuff. Let's move on to the podcast roundup, letting our viewers know what's going on in the geocaching podcasting community. And what's coming up this week on Geo Gearheads is episode 279. They're going to be talking about Project GC 5. Now, I don't think that's the version number. I think that's the 5th time they're talking about Project GC. So it's in a numeral 5. So I'm just kind of saying. Magnus is back to update them on projectgc.com. So good stuff. And I highly recommend if you are into any kind of stats and want to pull out all that cool stuff about geocaching, Project GC is something you want to look into a membership for. There's a lot of good stuff that you could really pull out that you just don't have access to other ways. So,
and challenge checkers and
all that
hunting for, you're going to a new area and you want to hunt for a first to find.
Oh yeah.
All kinds of neat little tools on projectgc.com.
Yeah. Highly recommend it. I became a member this year, matter of fact, and been using it ever since. It's part of the toolkit that I use for geocaching. All right.
What's really useful is the comparing maps between what you found with somebody else if you're planning a road trip. That's a really good thing.
Stuff. Excellent. Also on Thursday on the GeoSnippets Reboot podcast, wife Amy, if she's up to it, I'm giving 50-50 odds right now. Matter of fact, I haven't actually officially asked her if she wanted to do it Thursday or not, but she's been moving around a lot today. Either way, we'll be talking about understanding multi and puzzle caches, which I think something easy would be good for her after the appendectomy to take it easy. And if she's on drugs, she'll just prop her up in the chair and she'll be fine. So
I'll send you my unsolved list through.
There you go. So also, please consider becoming a patron for the Geocaching Podcast. It does cost money to do podcasts. So if you would be so kind to go to geocaching.com, geocachingpodcast.com, and click on either the PayPal or the Patreon logos there. And if you can throw a couple bucks at us each month, we would greatly appreciate it. And for the people that are doing that, thank you so much. And for the people that are on the fence, get off the fence. If you'd be so kind. If you can afford it, if you can't, just spread the word about us. But if you can't afford a few bucks, we greatly appreciate it. All right. Good stuff. Nothing in the GCPC mailbag this week. But if you have any kind of stories or adventures you're going on or milestones or anything that you want to make known, please send it to gcpcmailbag@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to put that on the show. We get a lot of really good people talking about subjects that we talked in past shows or stuff that they want us to talk about. By all means, send that to us. We greatly appreciate that. Nothing really on the news, Taz.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to keep me shut up because I talked too much last week.
Give them a little reprieve there. Yeah, shy of yesterday being the big 17 for geocaching. So congratulations.
Now the souvenir or what shows up on the souvenir page, and they should have made that the big blue switch. Yeah. Instead, they got just celebrating 17 years of geocaching. You need the switch in there.
They didn't.
If you click on it, if you click on it, of course they'll show you the full one with the big blue switch on there.
Right.
But the one that shows up in your profile, kind of lame, people.
Really? Now, see, I can't tell you that because when I use the geocaching app, it doesn't show souvenirs. Just saying. So I didn't get a chance to see that.
So I'm apologizing to. I'm sorry, I forget the cacher's name, but we're being Debbie Downers on geocaching.com.
Now, I was very good on it last week with them, giving praise for all the stuff that they were starting to do. So that just counters it a little, just a smidge.
Balances it out.
Just a smidge. So no, I thought the idea was great.
Yeah, great idea.
All right. So anyways, let's move on to episode 495, really great travel bug hotels. You get, I think, an interesting mix now between people when it comes to travel bugs. For people that are new at geocaching, they tend to really like the idea of finding game pieces in the travel bugs of which they can take and look at and examine and move them on to other geocaches, which is what the appeal that I've always had for travel bugs. I've always loved them. Amy adores them. She absolutely is tickled pink when she's able to find a travel bug. Mm-hmm. One of the things that became almost an art piece is creating travel bug hotels. And so I thought tonight, I ended up going through, and don't roll your eyes, guys, I went through Pinterest and went through, and it's funny because I hear more and more guys say, I am so hooked on Pinterest now. Duh. It's got good stuff. So especially when it comes to geocaching. So I went through and we'll have a link in the show notes, and we'll show some of this up on the screen while we're talking today. But I thought it would really be good to, one, kind of reprise what a travel bug is, and then also talk about what would make a great travel bug hotel, because they're needed. They really are. It's more than just the single travel bug that you find, or one or two that you find in a cache and you find and work with. There are places that are needed to be able to hold a bunch of these safely, so that that they don't get muggled and yet are very greatly used for people, especially people who travel. So we'll get over all that right now. But why don't we start off with, I'll let one of you two go ahead, and what is a travel bug?
Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, they're basically a geocaching game piece that's got a special ID tag that looks a bit like a metal dog tag, a couple of inches long, that's attached to a travel bug, and these, which can be anything anybody sets it, links to it. This game piece moves from one geocache to the next and can go all around the world. They remain the personal property of the travel bug owner,
Yes.
They're quite often, so don't pocket them. They're not collectible.
Yes.
They usually have a goal they're trying to complete. And if you can, note the goal before taking the travel bug. Doesn't always happen, but that's if you. And some people have travel bug races to see who can get theirs the fastest to wherever the fastest or travel the most distance.
Right. Why don't we cut down on just a couple of these things and kind of go over some of this stuff. The main thing you want to remember, there are two things that you will find in a geocache besides the logbook in a traditional. One
Spiders.
Besides spiders and fire ants and those type of things. One is swag, which is little trinkets that are in geocaches that you can take out, and hopefully the idea behind swag is you take something and you replace it. There you go. Replace it with something of equal or better value. Those are tradables. Those are things that are made to for geocachers to enjoy and have a bit of treasure hunting in their geocaching ways. Trackables like geocoins or travel bugs are not swag. They are the personal property of the travel bug owner. So in other words, somebody went and spent $5 for the tag. They spent money for, they spent money
And
for
I'm covering up the code.
They spent money for the tag. They spent money for the items that that whatever they're attaching it to. So there's a personal cost. And the reason why people create travel bugs is to what? Watch them travel, have them go from geocache to geocache. And literally the cool thing about geocaching.com is that you can go through and watch a map and literally see each point as who carried it, how far it went, where it went. And I've got travel bugs. I've got Wolfgang von Pitter Pat, I think, who is actually a chin strap penguin that I made for my daughter back when she was like 12. And he's got like 80,000 miles on it. He's been around the world. He's been to the South Pole. He's been to the North Pole. He's been all over the place. And to be able to sit there and watch him. And I've had maybe 5 or 6 travel bugs that have gone worldwide and just traveled all over the place. But they are the owner of somebody else. And newer geocachers, I don't know if they get it or not. I don't know if they just think they're swag or what have you. But one of the things and why we talk about stuff like this is to educate geocachers to understand there's a difference between the two and the reason for that. Usually a travel bug will have a goal, which is very, very important to some people. So in other words, one of the ones that I had was Pete the Parrot. Now, Pete the Parrot, I'm showing Sarah as we're going through there. There you go. See the goal here? It says, help this geocoin get to Australia. Thanks. That is key. Now, if you are, and this has happened to several of my different travel bugs that go with this, if you have somebody that has a goal that says, I want them to go to Australia, or I want them to go to Germany, or I want them to go whatever, if you don't check the goal, nothing will drive a travel bug owner crazy is to have them get close to where they're supposed to go and have somebody take it and put it on the other side of the planet.
Yes.
So it's very important to note the goal. And a lot of times in the packaging, you'll see just that, like just Sarah just showed, send me to such and such. The cool thing that I really like is like for the ones that travel bugs that have this an extra card on it, and it has, I want to visit these states. So all you have to do is punch the state that you're having it, so you can see instantly which ones that you need to go to follow that. But goals to a travel bug owner are extremely important for things like that.
And it's useful for people who are picking them up to know, hey, do I really want to take on this responsibility or not?
Yes.
And one thing that I would also suggest is put it in German as well, because if it goes to Germany, it will wind up being in the German black hole of travel bugs. And while it will travel around Germany,
yes,
it almost never will leave Germany. I've had one where it's been trying to get to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for years. It was stuck in Germany for years. It wound up at a mega event. A friend of mine actually picked it up, brought it back to the U.S., and I she didn't know that it was mine at the time because it didn't have a tag on it. And it was like, when she logged it in, it was like, Donna, I need that. And she gave it to me. I put the tag on there in English. About a month later, it's back in Germany. It's like,
yes.
But most Germans speak better English than I do.
well, true, but they tend to just ignore it.
I never would have thought the idea of putting the lingo for the place that you wanted to go just in case. That's amazingly cool idea. So yeah, it's incredibly important with the goals that go on there. And yes, you are absolutely right. I've had several. Pete the Parrot is the one that I had. He spent years and years in Germany. It was my blue screen of death just showed up on my other PC. I hate when that happens. So I'll let that do that. So yeah, it's amazing how things go with stuff like that. That you hit a country, and it'll every 5 miles it'll go to another geocache in Germany for years with that. Let's see. Travel bug races are awesome. If you want to get into some fun, get in a travel bug race. The international ones are fun as well. And the reason is if you do it right, you usually find out the other people that are in the race, and then bragging rights start coming into play. And to be able to go through and just heckle the heck out of the other contestants when it comes to stuff, it's a lot of fun. Have you guys ever gotten into a travel bug race before?
I have, and I had a heckling contest with Little Red Car who beat me. Hers wound up going about another 1,500 miles more than mine. We both had something like 30,000 miles on ours at the end. I came in second place. She came in first. So I got a T-shirt though.
All right.
Yeah, I've helped a few along the way. I've never sent one out myself. The best one I came across was a few years ago. We had a geocacher called Heathtree, who is from Canada, was doing a PhD in Wellington. And he brought over a load of travel bugs from Canada, which he held an event, handed them out to people and said, help them along, get them back to Canada and see which one gets there the fastest.
Oh yeah, and that's all it takes. Yeah. It really does, and it's a lot of fun. I remember the first actual travel bug race that I was in. There was it started out the person that started it was in New York, and literally I would do a cartoon, a little 1-page cartoon of because everybody saw what the status was of who went where. And I literally did a cartoon. I turned each one of their travel bugs into little characters, and I did that for like almost 2 years. It was really kind of cute, but
cool.
That's the kind of heckling you could get into for people like that. So it depends on how involved you want to get into it. So lots of fun with travel bug races. Some of the best practices when you're actually making a travel bug. The main thing that you should get across with every travel bug that you put out or a geocoin, don't get personally attached to the item. There are reasons that people put out travel bugs that are very honorable and good, and there's a lot of awareness type things that go with that. But make sure that you don't have it because it's being handled by humans. And things happen when it comes to stuff like that. And it's we'll start with some of this, but you'll get the idea by the time we're done. you basically come with an item you want. Usually it's like a plastic toy or a small item of choice that you want to go through. And my computer's coming up on the side. That's why I'm being distracted here. And you get a travel bug tag, and it's got a chain that's allowed with it. The best advice I have ever gotten, and people are like, how can you do this? It's because if you want a travel bug to last as long as possible, is to make sure that people realize that it's a travel bug. Drill a hole in the center of the item. Drill it right through and make it so it's big enough of a hole that the chain will fit through. The chains that come with travel bugs are perfectly acceptable. They're used all the time. If you want this to be going for a longer period, get a heavier chain. And it's just those standard ball link chains that go on. Get a couple grades thicker with that because they can easily snap for those, if depending on how they're handled. Let's put it that way.
And they also make small cables that are actually cables that have a screw on end.
These guys right here.
Yeah, those guys right there. And what I do is after when I'm sure I'm completely done, I put a little bit of super glue in the threads and tighten it down. Yes, and that sucker isn't coming off.
Yeah, you can do that with these guys here with the chain and the little clasps on the end. Mm-hmm. You can go through that and also put a couple dabs of crazy glue in there to help cement them in place.
But I can rip one of those apart. That's the problem, right?
Right, and that's why if you get a heavier gauge, it works a lot better. Or like Chad said, get these, and they're cheap. The stainless steel ones here are like 17 cents. I mean, they're not really a big expense, depending on how much of a gross or whatever you get them by. And people laugh, why get by a gross? I know people that have put out hundreds, if not thousands, of travel bugs. So get in bulk.
I buy them in 10 packs. $1.70 for a 10 pack or something like that. $2 for a 10 pack. I mean, it's not really costing you a lot of money there.
Right. Yep. The main thing that you also want to consider about travel bugs and with things like that is make sure it's a useful size. People think it's funny if you use an entire boat oar and turn it into a travel bug and take it to an event until you get stuck with said boat oar.
Or a refrigerator door, which I have brought home a refrigerator door and put it on the front stoop of the person who had put the travel bug out, and his wife hates me to this day.
Yes.
Good one.
Yeah, no, I got stuck because we went to Coin Fest years ago, and Amanda was young back then, and the guys from the Dirtbag Society said, "Hey, Amanda, come here," and said, "Give this to your dad." And so that's how I was bestowed it until I could dump it off on an event. So yeah, same thing. Keep them in the size that's going to fit in a small or a regular geocache. Will make a lot of people very happy.
My luck is that I blow hot and cold on travel bugs, but I will pick them up if they're somewhere where they've been for a few months.
Right.
Or if they're somewhere where I think, hang on, this cache is high risk of being muddled.
Exactly.
And then I will pick them up. And sod's law, I'll pick up something, well, not quite of the boat oar size, but something, say, with postcards attached to it or whatever. And then for the next month, all I will find is micros. And you're stuck looking this thing round, and there's no way you can get rid of it.
Yeah,
the best way to get rid of those is go to an event, drop it in the event. Yeah. Some sucker will pick it up.
That's right.
Yeah,
they'll pick it up and go from there. But there are so many people that have done everything from cinder blocks. I saw one not too long ago was an actual baby carrier. You know, the thing you hook into your car. I mean, there's just tons of them that people go, which are just ridiculous size.
I've seen
try explaining that to an LEO.
Yes.
Surfboards and plane props and propellers and all kinds of different things. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it to small toys. It's it's nice for people to move around. Before we were talking about making sure that you don't have any personal attachment to it. I've had travel bugs absconded, I guess is the best way to put it. The first time I put one out for my ex-wife and put it in my geocache that was close by, and somebody picked it up, walked away, never logged the cache, and it was gone.
Yep.
So it can go that quick. It can go for weeks. It can go for months. It can go for years. The way that I explain it for people is do this. Think of it as a shooting star. Enjoy it for what you can see it, and then it's gone. It's simple as that. If you have travel bugs rarely last any great distance, let alone having them get to the goal that they want.
And this is why I will not put out a geocoin,
yes,
except unless I have a proxy, and then I'll send the proxy out.
Yes, and matter of fact, you might even want to consider the tags that come along with the travel bug. I've had this on several of them, especially over time. What you do is you use this, which is a proxy tag. So you keep the metal one, so you keep the number, you put the number and engrave it into one of these and send it out that way. That way you don't lose your number. You do get a copy, but I've had times where I literally, when I was early on into geocaching, I put the copy out too, because the first one got lost, and then you go from there. I've got
a plea for people. For example, and this guy's been good. This is an absolutely awesome geocoin. I'm just trying to work out where I need to hold it so you guys can pick it up. There's loads of Celtic engraving on that side.
Gorgeous.
And that's on. But the guy who's put it out, I'm assuming it's a guy, has written the travel bug number there, which I've obscured. But thank you for writing it out, because my eyes ain't what they were. And most of these are just too damn tiny to read without a microscope.
Yeah.
So, coin designers, can we actually see what we're meant to be keying in, please?
Oh, they do get small. They do get small. Now,
and as I get older, the harder it is to read them.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, one of the other things that Chad was talking about, I will not put out. I actually put out probably, in the very beginning, I probably actually put 10 geocoins out that I bought doubles and put the double out for its use. They're gone. They're just gone. So one of the other things now, GX Proxy is a very, very good company that does this. This is a proxy coin that that they do. It's basically the exact etching of what the geocoin is, and they etch it onto this proxy coin. This you can put out. The rest stay in the collection. So
I've got that's actually the sister coin to the Alaskan one that I put the proxy out. Well, they had 2 Alaskan coins, and I was trying to decide which one do I go with. I went with the one with the whale instead of the one with the wolf, and put that out when I was in Alaska.
Well, neat. Very cool. So yeah, there are ways to getting around it so the expense isn't as great to you, because let's face it, the actual coin, this is a $25 coin. So it's one of those type things, and that's a rather large expense to lose by having somebody go, oh, I think I'll keep that. So yeah, just be careful and when you put stuff out like that.
Which, by the way, the proxy went MIA.
Yeah. Even the proxy, see the
so that proxy is still pretty nice.
Yeah, they're just as hefty and feel good, and just so somebody else, it does. So just be careful when you do that. Just remember they're not going to last that long, and that enjoy it for where it goes, because some of them will surprise you, some will go rather quickly. If it has a mission, attach that to the travel bug if you can, so people have a chance to decide if they can help picking it up or not. And like we had also with the proxies. All right, so that's everything about travel bugs. with that you really need to know. They're a lot of fun. People love them. But what is a travel bug hotel? And it goes with this. A travel bug hotel is usually larger sized traditional geocaches built to house, record, and efficiently distribute travel bugs. And this is really helpful. Now, normally a travel bug or a geocoin, you're just going to find in a geocache, and you're going to pick it up and you're going to decide if you're going to take it or not, and move it on to the next geocache. There are certain circumstances where travel bug holes, they're locally used, usually near areas of, I'm going to bring this up since Chad brought that up. There are travel bugs that are made near large transportation areas. So like, for example, airports, subway stations, bus stations, things like that. And they're designed specifically for the geocachers that go on trips so that they can go out and literally find travel bugs that if they're going on a trip to X, wherever they're going, and to be able to go through and quickly pick up some travel bugs because they're on a schedule, they got to get them fast, and take some and move on their way. Or on the other way, they came back from a trip and they want to get them locally into the area that they're at. A travel bug hotel is a great place to do this.
So this one's a travel bug hotel. That's actually a letterbox travel bug hotel, and has over 200 favorite points. And one of the first ones that I found when I was out in California, came out here to interview with Intel, and so here's me finding it. It's 106 degrees out. I'm in a long sleeve shirt. I've got my tie at least pulled down a little bit.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm starting to sweat just a little bit there. But that
is
was
it open like that? I mean, it's just
it is locked. So that's before it's open. Yeah, it's out in on the side, the gentleman's side yard. Bud's Done Working is the name of the cache owner, and then when you open it up, so you have to find the code in order to unlock it.
Right.
You open it up and it's got a bunch of slots here and stuff for putting them in, and even door slots here. So he keeps it pretty well stocked as well. So if it starts to get too many in there, he'll take them and move them on himself.
Right.
And then he'll also pull them from events and stuff them in there to make sure that it stays pretty well stocked.
That's excellent. Now, and a lot of geocachers absolutely love travel bugs. So it is not uncommon. You don't mark it as a find, but it is not uncommon to find people hitting those travel bug hotels once a week, every other week, whatever, just to move travel bugs in and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very cool and very big, and the nice ones are very well organized. Like Chad was showing there, where there's a lot of compartments and things that are in to easily find what you want and to record that, which is absolutely key for a good travel bug hotel. Now, there is a debate, and I use the word loosely, about how some cache owners of travel bugs kind of turn them into travel bug prisons. And what I mean by that is they'll state on the description page or on the travel bug hotel itself, excuse me, and say that you have to do a 1-for-1 trade-off because they don't want their travel bug hotel to go empty. That's not true. That's not part of the guidelines for geocaching. You don't want to go into a travel bug hotel and take 8 of them out, because you are responsible for those 8 if you do take them out. You want to leave some for others to go. So taking 1 or 2 or 3 even travel bugs, if they've got similar goals, is fine. But you don't have to. Well, I don't have the one to swap for. Travel bugs are not swag, so
right.
You don't have to. If you want to go to a travel bug hotel and just take one and move it on, you are perfectly in your rights to do that. So just kind of keep that in mind when you see sometimes where they say 1-for-1. They're just trying to keep them stocked, which
right.
is, but
but don't go in there and take them all out. I mean,
Right.
that's getting to the point of being ridiculous. If it's really loaded up, take a few. If it's pretty lightly loaded, take one.
Yeah. Very, very
No,
important.
I cleared out one travel bug hotel a few years ago because it was placed by somebody who was relatively new to geocaching. I don't think they're in the game now, actually. But they placed it and they thought, oh, travel bug hotel, that sounds really cool idea. And it was a sort of typical newbie hide, sustainable lunchbox type size thing in a place that was screaming out to be muggled.
Oh.
So I thought that's not
judgment call. That is an absolute
Right.
judgment call.
Yeah.
Right. I would suggest making sure that either the container is extremely secure, which in this case it is, or in a relatively muggle-free environment.
Yes. Like if it's out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, great. Not a big deal. But if it's in an area that's anywhere having a remote possibility of somebody stumbling upon it, that's something that you want to keep locked or very, very secured. I've seen many large ammo cans literally chained to something to make sure that people don't walk off with it. So you use common sense when you go through that and try to keep them as secure as possible for that. Travel bug hotel best practices, and this is exactly what we were talking about. Placement of the travel bug hotel is crucial. You don't want to hide it in an area that can be easily muggled. There's a lot of time and energy and money invested in these things. They're usually bigger. They're a little more elaborate. And it's not only that, you're holding other people's property inside that have a cost factor that you want to, again, make them as secure as possible. Make sure the size of the travel bug hotel matches the amount of flow through that's going. If you've got a travel bug hotel that's constantly packed, it may need to be bigger because so many people are hitting it. Or it might be in an area that it does need to be a little more secluded. So you may not have to have that large ammo box for something like that.
Especially ones near airports. I've seen ones near airport, even the gray utility boxes that someone's mounted to a utility pole,
right?
Just being overpacked because of the amount of traffic that comes through there. It's like you really need to take into consideration the amount of foot traffic that's going to be coming through there. Yep. So the ones near large airports, make sure they're big.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, and I totally agree with this, if you can make them as efficient as possible, as organized as possible, sure, everybody can take their bags and different travel bugs and just throw them in and go that way. It takes time to go through and figure out which goal that this is going on. Sometimes the goals even aren't on the travel bugs themselves, and people just grab and take whatever they're going to go with that. One of the coolest things that I've seen is if it's built correctly, it's going to have shelving, kind of like the one Chad was just showing a little earlier, where you have compartments where you can put stuff. I've seen in larger ammo boxes where they have used lock and lock boxes that they compartmentize everything there. So travel bugs would be sorted by location, or by goal on where they're going, what country they're going to, size-wise, to keep those that way. So you might want to pick up a couple small ones because you got to put it in your carry-on or what have you. So things like that are definitely, and that's a good example that Chad's showing right there.
So you can see the different continents there, so that you know where it's going to be. That's a very, I've seen domestic versus foreign, so that but this one is really nicely done with the different continents where they want things to go.
Yep, it's awesome.
And well done on having New Zealand off the coast of Australia. I've seen it missed off on so many maps.
So scratch.
Yeah, so excellent for that. The other thing that I do like, and it takes just a few seconds longer, is if you can have a record book inside the cache that says, this is the number for the travel bug. This is where it should be heading, and when it was placed or taken out if it's already recorded, so that people can easily look through the list and see which ones they want that way as well. That also is very helpful. It makes it just it's a little longer to write in and say, okay, I dropped this off here at this particular day, and this is where it needs to go, or I'm taking it and going that way. But for the people that want to go through, if they've got an itemized list that they can just kind of and see what's available, what's not, it saves a lot of time that way. So cool stuff. Let's see. Sarah, you were saying a local one to you has separate compartments.
Yeah,
Okay.
for international within New Zealand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the same thing. You do it within the States and in different countries as well. Absolutely. So yeah, there's a ton of them that you can see here, and I'm going to bring some of these up myself, and just so you can kind of get a idea. And let me bring this up here. I mean, there is some really. The cool thing about this is you can see inside how big this particular travel bug hotel is. And a lot of them get cute where they actually turn them into actual mini hotels, which I think is a cute idea that's in it. The whole thing fits in a birdhouse that you can go through and basically just unlock the lower section and bring down the entire thing. And the whole outside of it is nothing but a big birdhouse. I mean, that is just amazing. That's a lot of technology. It literally has a little electronic winch there to bring it up and bring it down. I mean, the creativity that people have for stuff like that is just awesome. The other ones that I've seen as well that were really cool. I remember when I first started geocaching in North Carolina, one of the people actually took just a large ammo box for it and turned it into a travel bug hotel on their own personal property that they went through that for, and it was made more kid friendly. So the kids could come and have kid swag and go with that. But you can make it into whatever you want. Now, this one is basically a travel bug hotel made of individual containers that get covered by a large pipe that they go through, and it just looks like one of those meter pipes that's hooked onto it. And again, it's locked down and put into place, and you can go through and choose whatever ones you want. But the creativity that people are able to come up with this is really something to see. And let's see. This one I thought was just a good old-fashioned cute ammo box. They went through and painted it, and it literally says the word hotel on the outside with a geocaching butterfly and bricks, and somebody got creative and just made an ammo box cute for a hotel. I mean, you can be as creative or as elaborate as you want with them. And let's see. So, Chad, was that one that you had in California? Is that the most elaborate you found?
One of the most. He's got another one that is an outhouse, which is I think is just a tad more creative. So
that's neat. But again, same thing. The one that we're showing here is they literally turned one side of it into a hotel. They got a large, looks like it's an abandoned electrical box, and gutted it out and literally made a little dollhouse hotel on one side so that you could put your travel bugs up on the beach or in a bed or next to a, just different parts of a hotel. I think that's actually a little pool section in the bottom. So cool stuff. I mean, you can get as creative as you want with this. And for me, the cuter, the better. Nothing brings a smile to my face is to find something like that. see. I gotta go one or two more here, and then we'll wrap up.
Ours aren't that cute.
Huh?
Ours aren't that cute. There's
They're
some
not?
clever ones, but nothing that level of
I in the
investment.
beholder, I think. Some of the other ones. Now, I have done things like this, where I've set up a pulley system, and actually, this is an actual travel bug that they went through and hit up in a tree. And sometimes you got to remember to look up and go from there. But yeah, I mean, you can hide them anywhere. Let's see one other one here. The other one, and I'll bring up the electrical box one here as well. And you see a lot of these. It's the just old electrical boxes that are no longer used anymore, and go through and they
if you can get your hands on those and are willing
I don't know where
to
you can even start to pick them up, but
and are willing to drag them out into the middle of the woods.
yeah. So I mean, it's tons of stuff. Don't just this one actually lights up. I like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's kind of neat. So yeah, that's some work. But please don't gut out an electrical box that's nearby your house or whatever just because you want to.
Yeah, we don't need to hear a story about you going. Zzz, zzz.
Yeah. Electrocution is not the way that we want you to geocache. But yeah, be as elaborate as you want. The other ones that I actually couldn't find a picture to, and were quite popular for a while there, was in guardrails. Because you get some of the modern guardrails that are the bigger sized ones. You got room where you could put a nice 2 foot by 2 foot or 3 foot box on the back side of it and go that way to put their bugs in.
Down country roads, the guardrails, not guardrails in a city, because it's going to get spotted if it's in the city.
Yeah,
but
common sense.
But yeah, I've seen some decent sized lock and locks get put there between the wood pylon and the W shape or whatever of the guardrails.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to be clever, and sometimes you might have to camouflage a little more than you think, just to make sure that they're well put. But travel bug hotels are great, and they're very useful. And if you are into those, people just, like I said, they love going because they know that travel bugs are going to be there, or geocoins are going to be there, and they just go there every week or two to check them out and find out what's new. Excellent stuff. All right, guys, excellent things with there. Anything else we've got on travel bugs we want to mention? Just like I said, no personal reflections on them. Just remember they are being handled by humans, and humans do stuff.
Crazy things.
Yep. All right, good stuff. So we'll hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed all the information that we gave, and get out there and put some geocaches out there. Yes, it's a little more effort than it is to put a micro someplace. Yes, it is. There will be some planning involved, and there's some research that you need to do, and a little bit of expense. But I'll tell you what, geocachers truly do appreciate those. Creative is always a better way to go, and stuff like that. Show your stuff. Show what you know, and make it fun for the geocaching community, which is always a cool thing to do. All right.
Yeah, I think you've inspired me. I've got a good spot that's recently been freed up of a cache, and I might just have to go put me a hotel out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a couple ideas from some spots that I've been, some areas I've been scouting, because nobody's been placing geocaches in our area for a couple of years now. And one of the things that I wanted to put into was a travel bug hotel for that. So yeah, get inspired, get out there, go and do stuff, because that just makes it even better for the community. And it's greatly appreciated by everybody.
Oh yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you to Chad. Thank you to Sarah for doing what they do best. And thank you, fine folks, for subscribing to the Geocaching Podcast and watching or listening to us each and every week. All right, I think it's time to move on here. Please be sure to join us each and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the Geocaching Podcast, right here on the Geocaching Podcast website at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. The video version of our show is available on YouTube, and the audio version is available on our home website, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and many of your favorite podcatchers. We love hearing from our viewers and listeners, so please visit us through our social media sites or contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. The Geocaching Podcast is a Headhardhat production and is produced by Andy Smith, Scott Burks, Chad Courtney, and Sarah T.S. This show is copyright 2017 by Andrew T. Smith. All rights reserved. And clear. All right. Good show, guys. And thank you, fine folks, for stopping on by. Yeah, hopefully you get out there and start thinking about, hey, maybe I should get some tags and put out some travel bugs. Yes, they don't last as long as we want, but they are part of the game, and it's a fun thing to watch them as they do go from one point to the next.
Well, it's amazing. You'll have some that you would think someone's going to for sure steal this.
Yep.
And it keep going and keep going and keep going. And others, it's like, yeah, nobody will ever steal this. And it's like,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. That's just part of the game. That's all how it is. And like I said, like a shooting star, enjoy it while you can and go from there. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a safe one. And we will see you next week on the Geocaching Podcast. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.